Hi friends, let us today see whether the Hindu scriptures are in line with the preachings of Hindu gurus or the learned people in Hinduism, or is there any difference in them? So, first let us see what the Hindu scriptures have to say about God. In our earlier videos, we have conclusively proved that there is no supreme God in Hinduism, hence, we have to consider both the sayings of Vishnu as well as Shiva. So, let us go to each of the scriptures. One, Bhagavad Gita, which portrays Vishnu as the supreme being, which was written around 500 to 200 BC. So, let us go there and see as to what Vishnu has to say about himself and his role towards human lives. So this would be in chapter 10, 39. First let us go there. Okay, and before that let me show you. See, this version is called as the Bhagavad Gita as it is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He is the founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is ISKCON. Alright, so this is the person. So this is the version translated. So let us go to the chapter number 10 and 39. As you all know, Bhagavad Gita is what it's basically the a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, wherein Krishna was convincing him to battle with Kauravas. So here in multiple places, Krishna explains as to what life is, what is salvation, what is himself, and what is his relation with the humans, and what is his relation with other gods and everything. So let us just start with the 39th verse and see what Krishna, who is the incarnation of Vishnu, has to say. Okay, so this is 39th verse we are. Okay, see here Krishna is telling, furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. There is no being, either moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. So here he is critically telling, like Krishna is telling, like without him, neither anything that is moving, including humans, animals, birds, wind, or anything, or non moving, maybe trees, rocks, whatever. So, nothing can exist without Vishnu. So, he is so critical. That is what is being pictured here. Now, let us go to chapter number 7 and verse number 23. We are trying to understand what Krishna is saying about himself and the role that he plays in mankind. Okay, so we are in 20 or in 23. What he is telling, Krishna is explaining, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So here Vishnu is trying to say, as a form of Krishna, he is telling like men of small intelligence worship the demigods, okay, and the fruits are also limited and temporary, and they go to the planets of the demigods. See here the understanding is, in case you have not gone through my other video wherein this is being explained uh, in a comprehensive way, here it basically tells like all these, the Rudra, like Shiva is one of the 12 Rudras, and then like it could be sun, it could be moon, whatever, these are categorized as demigods in Bhagavad Gita. So whoever worships demigod, first thing is he is categorized as a person of small intelligence, and they go to their planet. If someone is worshipping Shiva, they go to Shiva's planet. If someone is worshipping Indra, they will go to Indra's planet, which is Svargaloka. Someone worshipping moon, sun, they will go to Surya Loka or Chandra Loka, like that. Okay, these are the demigods, and then they go to those planets. All right, and then let us see in chapter 11 and 6th verse. Okay, here we are in 6th. Okay, here he is telling, Krishna is telling to Arjuna, O best of Bharatas, see here the different manifestation of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Aswini Kumaras, and all other demigods. So he is mentioning Rudra also in the category as demigod, because if you read the scripture, it is telling and all other demigods. So that means Aditya, Vasu, Rudra, Ashwini Kumar, they are also demigods. And so it is very clear in Bhagavad Gita that Rudra and Shiva is one of the 12 Rudras. So even Rudra is, or Shiva is also being called as a demigod. And as we just saw in the previous scripture 723, it says those with small intelligence worship the demigods and they go to their world, and only those who worship Vishnu will go to Vishnu Lok, okay, which is the supreme planet. Okay, now let us go to chapter number 8 and 15 and 16th verse. All right. See, here it clearly explains. There you just saw like someone who is worshipping demigod, they go to the respective planets, and someone worshipping Krishna, only they go to the supreme planet. Here the same thing is being explained, wherein from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, Vishnu's abode, O son of Kunti, referring to Arjuna, never takes birth again. So this is why it is very critical whether this is as per Bhagavad Gita, whether the person believes in Vishnu and goes to Vishnu Lok, wherein there is no birth and death cycle, or in case they are having of they are of small intelligence, they will be going to the demigods. It could be Shiva, it could be Chandra, Surya, whatever, and their repeated birth and the death takes place. So this is not the place anyone would wish to go, because the cycle doesn't stop. This is not called as salvation. Salvation means wherein this cycle should not be there, okay, it should the birth and death cycle should not happen. So that is what is salvation, which is being talked here. Okay, maybe we did not read fifth. Okay, in 15th it is the same thing, like after attaining me, Vishnu is telling the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries, because they have attained highest perfection. So here as you see, it is very clear that whoever is worshipping Vishnu, only they go to the, and of course there are other criteria that should be satisfied, that I have covered comprehensively in my other video which talks about the salvation specifically. Okay, so people who are meeting these requirements and those worshipping Vishnu, they will be going to Vishnu Lok, which is the highest perfection. So as per Bhagavad Gita, it is very clear that a person's salvation or moksha or achieving the perfection is going to Vishnu Lok, okay, where there is no birth and death cycle, and that is where they can permanently establish themselves. So that is called as the highest perfection. All right, so let us see now in Shiva Purana, okay, which is basically talking about Shiva to be the supreme being, and it is considered that Shiva gave the Shiva Purana through other people like Brahma, Suta, and others. Okay, this is dated between 1 and 1100 AD. All right, so let us go and see in page 197 what Shiva has to say about this. Before this, let me show you the version. See, this is an authentic version which is from the agency, the Archaeological Survey of India, which is under the government of India, wherein they have actually got all the genuine scriptures, okay, which typically was in Sanskrit, and then they used the board of scholars to get it translated to the current language which is being spoken. And see, this book is edited by Professor J.L. Shastri. This you can find in any typical library. So for example, this is from Central Archaeological Library, New Delhi, and links are there in the description, wherein you can freely download this version and check it out for yourself. So let us go to 197 and see what Shiva has to say about salvation and how it is linked to the human beings. Okay, so here in verse 33 to 38, Shiva thought within himself like this: another being shall be created by me. Let him create everything, protect it, and in the end let him dissolve it with my blessing. Having entrusted everything to him, we too. Here he is speaking to his wife Ambika or Parvati. Having entrusted everything to him, that new being which is created by Shiva, we too, Shiva and Ambika, remaining in Kasi, shall roam as we please, keeping only the prerogative of conferring salvation. So here Shiva is clearly telling we will create a being so that we can freely roam in Kasi and keep this prerogative of conferring salvation. So he's clearly telling this is a critical thing. That is why he has taken the critical aspect, and the smaller aspect, which is like the creation, preservation, and even annihilation, or so that is being conferred to this new being. And as we just read, we see like this new being is Vishnu. See, Shiva said, "You will be famous as Vishnu by name, as you are all pervasive. You will have many other names conferring happiness and devotees." Okay, so this is where Shiva is telling, like Shiva created Vishnu, okay, and Vishnu is interested with all the aspects, and the critical aspect, which is conferring salvation, is still held with Shiva. So, as per Shiva Purana, it is very clear, like it is like portrayed, salvation is the biggest thing which Shiva himself is handling, and other job is entrusted to Vishnu. And one more thing, in case you have noticed, you see in Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu says Shiva is a demigod, and anyone worshipping the demigod Shiva will go to Shiva lok, and there also life and death happens. So that is not the highest perfection. And when you come to Shiva Purana, it says Shiva created Vishnu. So obviously Shiva is much greater than Vishnu, and Shiva is actually assigning jobs to Vishnu here. So as you see here, this is the reason wherein there is the supremacy of God in Hinduism is not at all determined. Rather, it is conclusively proven that there are two distinct gods, Shiva and Vishnu, as per the scriptures. Okay, and as we all know, God cannot be many, God has to be one. So if something is like this, then we have to question the very existence of these gods. Okay, so now coming back to our focus. So in both cases, either it is Vishnu or Shiva, both are telling salvation is the biggest thing, and that is what humans should focus, and that is where they have kept their prerogative. So this is what we have seen, what the Hindu scriptures have to say. All right, so now let us go to what the preachings of some of the most famous contemporary Hindu gurus or the learned men say. Okay, first let us start with Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev. Okay, just see what he has to say. This is from his YouTube channel Sadguru. Okay,
goal. Mukti is the goal. Liberation is the goal. Ultimate freedom is the goal. God is never the goal. Yes or no? You don't like it because you forgot. Otherwise, mukti is the goal, isn't it? Mukti means what? Liberation, freedom from everything, including God. You are using God as a stepping stone if you need it. You can grow with God or without God. This is the only culture.
here he is telling like God is not materialistic, in the sense God is immaterial, and any person's goal is mukti or salvation, mukti from even God, he is telling. And he is telling God to be used as a stepping stone to move over and above God, which is moksha. That is what he said. Okay, and then he is also telling this is not compulsory, but it is optional whether we will go using the god or not using the god. But as we see in the scriptures, what it said, Bhagavad Gita said, highest perfection for humans is attaining Vishnu lok. Did he say there is something that is over and above me? No. What did Shiva say? Did he say there is something over and above him? No. He just said salvation is my prerogative, which I'll hold, which I will be giving to people, right? So here you can direct clearly see the preaching of one of the most revered current day Hindu guru is completely against what the scriptures have to say. So now let us see what another contemporary guru Ravi Shankar has to say. So this is a conference wherein people are questioning Ravi Shankar as to what is God. So let us see what his answer is.
A person, it's about God. What made God alive? The next is, since when did people started believing in God? The next one is, nobody has seen God. Have you seen God? How does God look like? The same question was asked some 10,000 years ago
A small young boy, 8-year, 9-year-old boy, asks his dad, Dad, what is God? How is God? How God looks like? The dad takes him by hand, brings him out of his house, and asks him, what was here before this house was built? The boy said, space. Where the house is built? He said, in the space. When this house is demolished, what will exist? What will remain? He said, space. Said, that is God. Said, God is not a person sitting somewhere and showing you a little finger, and as you try to catch him, he runs away. This is only in painting it is so. God is love. God is the space in which everything exists, from which everything has come, into which everything dissolves. And that was the Upanishad. The Upanishad said, God is come, Brahma. God is like the space and joy and love, all pervading. The space around you is not dead space. It is filled with energy, intelligence. And that energy, intelligence is what divinity. And it is inside you, outside you, everywhere. If you see the native culture of almost all the countries in the world, they all have this concept. They say God is in the mountain, in the river, in the flowers, in the trees, in animals, in human beings, everywhere. All permeate. In a simple manner, love is God.
So, as you just saw here, he's telling like God is just a space, He is everywhere, God is love or love is God. But this is not what you actually see in the scripture. Scripture, God specifically tells, see, I am like Vishnu, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, I am the supreme being, your the existence, how you have to get out of this world or this human life is through attaining me, which is the highest perfection. Same thing when you come to Shiva Purana, there it tells Shiva is the main being wherein he actually gave birth to Vishnu, and then other things came into being. And we going to Shiva or getting salvation through Shiva is the highest way. Okay, that is what scriptures say. But then when it come to them, they are telling like completely different. Okay, so now let us see what we have learned today. So as it is very clear, like the scriptures and these so-called the gurus or the learned men, they actually do not go in sync. In fact, they are actually 180-degree opposite. Like the scripture says something and they are telling something else. So it is now up to the audience to actually decide whether they will go with millennia old scriptures which are considered to be authentic and Shiva Purana coming from Shiva and Bhagavad Gita coming from Vishnu, or will they believe with such gurus wherein they state something without quoting any verse, without quoting anything whatsoever. Because if you have to quote, then you have to prove. For example, in my video everything is quoted, Bhagavad Gita where it is, Shiv Purana where it is, what it says, everything is being shown, that too from genuine versions. But when they are talking, you never get to hear even one single verse or chapter. So that is what makes the difference. So now it is up to the audience to actually make a decision as to whether they will follow the scriptures to know God and then to elevate themselves through the salvation to Him, or to believe in them, wherein there is no base or any textual or scriptural proof for what they are preaching. Thanks so much for your time. Have a nice day. God bless.